Now, to that big news tonight from the NFL. We now know the full season schedule for our Cleveland Browns.
Here we go. It does come with a bit of a surprise. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, joins us now. Okay, Jimmy, what do you think?
Well, here's the surprise, everybody. Sometimes you like to ease into the regular season schedule. You don't get kind of a cupcake, if there is a cupcake in the NFL early, and especially with the way the Browns have handled opening games throughout their reappearance in the NFL since 1999. That is not the case in this schedule. As when we go through it, you'll notice in their first 4 games, 3 out of those first 4 will be division games in the AFC North, and that means very tough games. But we'll begin and take you right through the entire year. We'll open up in the preseason, and in the Hall of Fame game, the Browns will play the Jets, a game you'll see right here on Channel 3 on August 3rd. And then they'll play Washington here, and then 2 road games to finish the preseason in Philadelphia, in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Now, here's what I'm talking about as we go to when it counts. What an opening game. Cincinnati, the Bengals, will open the season against the Browns here in Cleveland on September 10th. Cincinnati with high hopes. They are believers that they can go all the way and can win anywhere. So the Browns are going to have to be ready to go right in the opening kickoff of the opening game of the season. And then how about this? Game 2, Monday night in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Now, here's my point, everybody. If the Browns are going to be truly contenders for the AFC North Division title, they must start winning in Pittsburgh, and they have to win in Baltimore. They do pretty well in Cincinnati, but not in Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and that has to turn around. Game 3, Tennessee here. Game 4, the Ravens here, and then an early bye week. I'm not a fan of an early bye week. I don't like an early bye week or deviled eggs. Okay, so I really like the bye week in the middle of the season. Game 6 coming up, week 6 against San Francisco here. Tough team, a team that thinks they can win the NFC and win a Super Bowl. And then in Indianapolis, and then all the way out west to Seattle, to the great Pacific Northwest against Geno Smith and that high-octane Seattle Seahawks offense. Back home against the Arizona Cardinals, a homecoming for their new head coach, Jonathan Gannon, the great St. Ignatius Hall of Famer. And then I think it comes down to this, stretch time. Really, if you're going to make your move, week 10 in Baltimore, week 11, Pittsburgh here, week 12, right after Thanksgiving, in Denver against the Broncos. Week 13 on the road in L.A. I wouldn't be surprised if in between those 2 games, the Browns remain out west and stay out west during that period of time. Week 14, that's not a cupcake game anymore. Jacksonville is good now with Trevor Lawrence coming on at quarterback. They'll play them here in Cleveland. Week 15, the Chicago Bears, with the day and the time of that game still to be decided. Then Christmas Eve in Houston against the Texans. Then the final 2 games on paper look like great games, but you still want to be in the playoff hunt. They're only big games if you're still in the chase to win the division or get a wild card. A Thursday night game for week 17 against the New York Jets here in Cleveland on December 28th, and then it ends the final game of the regular season in Cincinnati against the Bengals. So there you have it. Now, the key thing I believe is at the start of the season, the Browns are changing the way they're doing training camp. Remember, I've told you, they're going to West Virginia. They're going to practice there for about 8 days. Then in the middle of training camp, they're going to leave Cleveland again. They're going to go to Philadelphia, work out against the Eagles, and then play the Eagles, all to be ready, really ready at the start of the season. And when you're taking on the Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens right away, you better be ready. That's a look at the season.
Wow.
We'll have more coming up in sports.
A long season, so long the orchestra actually stopped in the middle of your little
You
presentation.
ran out of music.
Wow. You know, I was going to hum, but sometimes that's tough. That's been from my ventriloquist days.
Gotcha. We'll see you later, Jimmy.
You got it.
Thanks, Jimmy. Well, NFL teams, you know, alternate seasons where they host 9 regular season games or 8. And this year, the Browns get 9. So that is great news for businesses downtown. At Harry Buffalo on East 4th tonight, there was a groan from fans hearing about the Browns opening at home against the tough Bengals. But as one of 2 official bars for Browns backers, the manager of Harry Buffalo tells me that extra home game is a much welcomed boost to their bottom line.
On a regular Sunday, it's quiet downtown, but with being a sports town, Browns are in town. There's all the restaurants, bars full, everything's full.
While extra game this year is good news for individual businesses downtown. Unfortunately, sports economists I spoke to say NFL games actually do not benefit the area's economy like you might think, because locals are merely moving around their entertainment dollars.